In 2018, China has done more and more to invade the Western market, and China predominantly owns a lot of the smartphone companies that are in the Western market today. Just a couple of years ago, we would have thought Samsung, LG, Apple, maybe Google were the go-tos, but some of us are changing that, and some of us are picking Huawei, Xiaomi, and the likes of OnePlus as our main daily drivers. So I thought what I'd do is break down the different brands, the different series of phones, and the different phones individually that I think made the biggest impact and have been the best Chinese phones of the year that have cut into the Western market. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Thomas from Tech, and this is why 2018 is the year of the Chinese smartphone. Let's start off with a fantastic set of smartphones to start off with, the Mi A2 and the Mi A2 Lite from Xiaomi. Now, I gave them a pretty hard rap just because I didn't like some of the ways they were implementing their displays. However, if you just look from a value standpoint, the Mi A2 Lite in particular is incredible. You look at it, it's got a 1080p IPS display, it's got dual card slots, it's got so much stuff packed into a phone that's made of metal and it feels premium, all down to a price of around 120 to 130 pounds. That's ridiculous. That is shipped to your door, brand new. That's incredible. The fact that we are looking towards these phones with Android One, which is an even bigger part of Xiaomi's story, just makes it even better. Now, okay, Xiaomi isn't the only one to push Android One to their device, with the likes of Nokia and other people like that, but what this has done is stray away from the typical low-end software that we find on smartphones. So what you'll often find is, okay, maybe a cheap Samsung or a cheap Motorola or even a cheap Sony could have decent hardware, but the software is going to stop being supported after the first 6 months, maybe a year. It's going to be slow, bogged down on an older version of Android, and Android One aims to alleviate that with better software updates, better software support, better AI tweaks, kind of like the Google Assistant, and also in the camera app actually there's some AI tweaks there. You get all of that packed into a smartphone that is cheap, that is like, affordable to most people. That's something we haven't seen before. Or maybe we have, but it was in like the old Nexuses. When someone asked me for a recommendation for an affordable smartphone between 100 and 150 pounds, I'm going Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite every day of the week. Watch out, Samsung and LG. Next up is a series that I've actually really liked, and that is the Huawei P20. Now, I like the P20, and you saw a review of it on my channel, but there's also the P20 Pro and P20 Lite. The Lite version is kind of lower end, so we're not going to talk about that. But the P20 Pro is a phone that basically this year, at one point, every tech YouTuber, every tech tuber, every phone reviewer wanted one in their pockets. And maybe that's because of the crazy design with the triple cameras on the back, one of the first people to do that. And then also there was the Twilight color option, which was just zany and crazy, and everyone wanted that color option. And then just down to the little things, like it had the really fast fingerprint scanner, it had like decent software, it had a really good camera app, had some other things trickled in there, but I believe the main thing was the triple camera on the back. Now, this is an incredible smartphone, but even when you step down to the P20, which is actually more popular here in the UK, we see that it's just an incredible smartphone. At £400 to £500, you're getting a great display, top-notch specs, really good memory support, and some cameras that were to die for. Like, it's an incredibly good package that kind of matched Samsung or even superseded Samsung in a lot of ways. Okay, if you didn't like the notch, maybe you didn't like it so much, but it definitely did take on almost another realm, and it makes me think, should I buy Samsung or Huawei instead of should I buy Huawei or another piece of cheap technology? That's something that we haven't had here in the UK for a long time. We've had a lot of Huawei low-end phones, but nothing this substantial. Huawei might not have been able to get their carriers in the US on board, but certainly over here, it drove up the hype for pretty much everyone. Now, I know by the time 2018 rolled around that OnePlus was a pretty big brand already. We had the OnePlus 3, the OnePlus 5 coming out, OnePlus 5T coming out. It was a really good brand, and especially here in the UK, it had already been in carrier stores. I believe O2 and 3 had OnePlus at the time. But this year, they decided to show us something different. Okay, we didn't get the ultra low cost devices like the OnePlus 3 era, which started at £309, half of its competitors. But now we've got like the OnePlus 6, which came out earlier in the year, which was a really good phone. I think it was a good stepping stone forward. And then we got the OnePlus 6T, which I think was the definitive phone of the year for like the mid-range. So around £450, you got one of the best displays on the market. Okay, it's not the sharpest, but it's literally just one of the best displays on the market. We got great cameras, we got a massive battery, we got an in-display fingerprint reader, and we got that teardrop notch all in the span of like 6 months, before where we had the larger notch, and okay, we lost the headphone port. I get it. For a lot of people, that's a big deal breaker. But if you like the headphone port, you could always go Samsung if you want brand new. So I suppose it's not the end of the world. If you thought I would go through this video without mentioning the Xiaomi Pocophone F1 once, well then you're wrong, because I really wanted to talk about this phone. Now the phone itself isn't great, okay? It's not got the premium materials, it's not got the best camera, best screen. The design, in my opinion, is fairly ugly, but that's subjective. But what we got was some fantastic specifications. And to be fair, it's competing with the likes of OnePlus, which they used to be the affordable, the value, but Pocophone started at £300 or near enough. And that was awesome. It was never really meant to be released in the Western market. It's mainly for India and China. And what happened was that they drew a lot of headlines. Xiaomi knew that just releasing a phone at that lower price was going to absolutely turn pages. It was going to make massive leaps for the Chinese brand, and it certainly did that. It showed a lot of people that you don't have to spend $1,000 to get a liquid cooled Snapdragon 845, and it showed a lot of people that if you just want specs, you can get it cheap. Now, does that mean that this is one of the best phones of the year? Absolutely not. But what it has done is left a mark, it made a statement, and it showed companies up essentially for overpricing a lot of their devices. Now, do I think that just because the Xiaomi Pocophone is released at, £300, that a Samsung comparably should be released at £300? No. They have different traits, and they're for different markets, they're for different people, and they're going to make money in certainly different ways. But what I love about the Pocophone is that there are a lot of people out there who solely focus on specs, and you'll know this because they'll just say buy a Pocophone every time. And for those people who love those specs, good on you. You have an option now. You have an option that is just pure hardware. And last, but certainly not least, is the Huawei Mate 20 series. This is a series of smartphones that got released kind of near the end of 2018, but it did something that I didn't think Huawei would do this year, and that is put out, in my opinion, the best smartphone. The smartphone that if I had unlimited money, I would buy. And that is the Mate 20 Pro. Now they do have the Mate 20 and the Mate 20X. The Mate 20X is an absolute unit. 7.2 inch display, over 5,000 mAh battery, absolutely crazy. And the Mate 20 Pro is like condensed down, it's slightly smaller, but it's got some crazy specs. Huawei have created one of the best camera systems in a smartphone. They've made one of the most unique designs in my opinion. They've added all the features that you kind of need apart from that weird proprietary micro SD card slot. And they put it all into a smartphone that yes competes with the Note 9 in terms of pricing, but also shows that it's not just Apple and Samsung at the top leagues, it's everyone. And Huawei with this really premium smartphone they've made headlines again. It's not just the P series that did a lot, but the Mate 20 series this year has done a lot as well. Gonna cut this video short, guys, because I was just rambling for way too long. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you saw that Chinese phones are really invading and they're gonna take over, and I would absolutely love to see Huawei right at the top next to Apple in terms of sales here in the UK. Not sure about different countries, but certainly the Western world has been taken over, and I love that Huawei is invading. Anyway guys, that's been it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do like, dislike, comment and subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. Also check out social media links, will all be in the video description below, just like the Discord. I want to give a massive shout out and thanks to my patrons. You guys are fantastic. I love you so much. My name has been Ryan Smalls from Failtech, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.